Total War Shogun 2 was free to keep a couple of weeks ago, and I know how overwhelming it can be if you're playing this for the first time, as this was my first Total War game as well. Especially when you're new to the genre, as Shogun 2 has both real-time strategy and turn-based strategy gameplay. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys 10 things I wish I knew before playing Total War Shogun 2. Starting off number 1 with building optimization. There are 2 must-have buildings in every single town you own, first one being the dark blue building from the stealth chain, the second being a market from the market chain. The building from the stealth chain not only gives you a solid income, it also increases the public order, making it an essential building in every single town you have. This is also important to prevent any sort of potential rebellions that may come your way. The market building generates the highest amount of income in comparison with any other buildings, making it the second most important building to have in order to fund your campaign. Well, lastly, make sure to have all your farms upgraded, as it provides the main source of income and food to supply everything you do in the campaign that is not within the castle town buildings. Coming in at number 2 is Skirmish Tactics. Whenever you're taking fire from enemy missile units, you always want to put your own units in a loose formation, especially your own archers. This will significantly reduce the effectiveness of the incoming enemy missiles and help you win most ranged skirmish. This is particularly useful at the start of each battle, when the AIs like to send their bow ashigaros forward. You can then do the same knowing you have the full advantage on your enemies. Did you also know that trees actually block incoming missiles, more so than it would if you were to fire from the forest terrain? Using this method to further decrease the effectiveness of incoming missiles, combining it with the loose formation will make you win almost any ranged skirmish, even when you're up against higher tier units. Number 3, Yari Formation. Similar to Skirmish Tactics, instead of loose formation, you want to use the Yari Formation whenever you engage in melee combat with your Yari Ashigaros. As they often make up the majority of your army, it is crucial you use this formation as often as possible. This will greatly enhance the unit combat capabilities, and it is something often overlooked. With this formation, you can even beat some of the samurai units who takes twice as long to recruit and has twice as much upkeep. However, no matter how great something is, there will always be a weakness. For the Yari Wall, it is archers. Their superior armor, lack of mobility, and tightly bagged Yara Ashigaru are great targets for enemy bow units to rain down upon. Most of the time I will gladly sacrifice my units to enemy archers in order to maintain Yari Formation to have a more favorable melee engagement, but obviously it may vary from situation to situation. Number 4, Siege Defense. By applying what we have talked about previously, instead of having your units holding at the wall, it is much more efficient to let the enemies come into your castle than choke them out with the Yari Ashigaru Spear Wall Formation. Oftentimes, I am able to defeat full stack armies of Ashigarus with only 4 Yari Ashigarus and a few bow units along with it. Once you get familiar with this tactic, you can earn yourself some easy heroic victories. Number 5, Maneuver Techniques. Do you ever find yourself setting up a nice battle formation but don't know how to advance without breaking the entire formation? Well, there are 2 ways to go about this. One is to select all your units and click on the arrows on the bottom left of the screen that allows the maneuver of your entire army. The other method is to select all the units and press G to lock your army in one group. Then if you right click, you will see how they remain in the formation wherever you drag. You will not be able to change the formation again until you unlock it. These may seem more restricting than other Total War titles, but Shogun 2 is a 9-year-old game, so it is something you have to cope with. Number 6, Group Attack. This was something that as a Total War veteran myself, only have recently found out. You can actually have all your units attack individual enemies without the need to click on each and every single one manually. In order to do this, you have to put your units in a locked group by selecting all the units that you want to attack with, and press G. Next, right click the enemy center unit so that your units will path towards the correct direction. At first it may not show up as red line to indicate an attack, but once your units get close enough, they will charge at the nearest target in front of them. Using this method will save you a lot of hassle in a large scale battle, and you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the view of samurais killing each other. Number 7, Army Composition. Most of my armies consist of mainly Ashigarus, simply because they are cheap and effective. They will always be the bread and butter of anyone's army in Shogun 2. My go-to army is 10 Yari Ashigarus, 5 bow Ashigarus, and 4 light cavalry. Now you definitely do not want too many bow units, as they are not as effective as they seem in comparison to some of the other Total War titles. In Shogun 2, they shoot painfully slow and don't inflict enough damage to justify having too many. 5 bow units is a nice balance for a full stack army. Any less you will be losing the ranged skirmish, and anymore you'll be losing out on infantry support. Having 4 cavalry units will help you secure your flanks in majority of the battles. The AIs will often leave the bow ashigarus on their own once the infantry has engaged in melee combat. This will be a great opportunity for your light cavalry to shine, flanking the enemy bow units, routing them, then eventually charging into the rear of the enemy infantry to close out the battle. But keep in mind, as cavalry can be micro-intensive, having any more than 4 may put unnecessary strain on you, which will affect the overall state of the battle. And finally, Yara Ashigaru, the backbone of all armies. They are a must-have without a doubt, and having too many of them can never go wrong. Why would you ever recruit Yara Samurai when Yari Ashigarus in the Spear formation is just much more superior? Number 8. Ambush Stance. Many people overlook this, but there is actually an ambush stance in Shogun 2. Unlike other Total War titles where you can select ambush stance wherever you are, in Shogun 2, you have to move your army next to hilly, light forest areas to set up an ambush. You will then see your army crouch down in a sneak position ready to pounce on enemies. This greatly improves your chances of winning the battle if an enemy happens to come by. So definitely give this a shot, although you gotta be somewhat patient, but it will definitely pay off. Number 9. General Skill Tree. You should always start with the Strategist skill to improve your campaign movement range. Next, you want to go for the Poet skill that improves the research rate, as it also unlocks one of the most valuable skill, Honorable. With this skill, your generals will never betray you again, as it may happen when your generals with low loyalty may start a mutiny, bringing with him an entire stack of elite units. For the Daimyo, it will greatly increase your diplomatic relations with other factions, making the other faction respect you more. Now, the reason I don't recommend you going for the skills on the right side of the skill tree is because they are primarily to improve your general unit's combat stats. Most of the battles when your general is required to join the fray, you most likely have lost the battle. And generals in this game are not particularly strong. There is a high chance your general will die in combat, even with the added bonus combat stats. Number 10. Foreign Trade. There are 5 foreign trade routes you can establish with in the campaign map, each in a different location. You must first upgrade your coastal village into a trading port. Here, you can build trade ships that will allow you to establish a trade route with these foreign nations. The more trade ships you have, the more income you will earn from these trades. You will earn significantly more than a simple trade agreement with another faction. It is also important for you to build a sizable naval force to protect the trade route. Otherwise, it will be raided by pirates and other factions. So that is pretty much it for a few of the things I wish I knew before playing Shogun 2. Make sure to leave a comment if you learned anything new, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed my content. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.